Welcome to Discourse. Today we're talking about The Power of Passion by Dennis Wong. The main character, Eddie, is Chinese. He's got a Chinese mother, but the love of his life,
father.
and a Chinese father, right? His family's Chinese.
Yeah.
The love of his life is Hawaiian.
Flora.
And at the beginning, I was like, okay, she's Hawaiian. Like, I really enjoyed their love story. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Nothing can go wrong with this.
Let's just say the author dives right into the drama. You see Eddie and Flora are in love. They want to get married, and in comes Miss Kate, and she does not accept Flora or their wedding.
Like immediately, right? Like, Eddie brings Flora home for a dinner.
Yes.
It's going to be nice. I thought it was going to be like a slow transition into like them not liking each other based off of what they like maybe said or something like that, or something maybe Flora had did.
Yeah.
No, immediately, right? Right when Miss Kate learns that she's Hawaiian, she's like, no, get out of my house.
Before she finds out that Flora is Hawaiian, she is very nice, is very welcoming. She, wants to feed her. She starts setting the table, is just very welcoming. And then she assumes Flora is Chinese.
Right. And
then immediately finds out she's not, she's Hawaiian, and she gets up and walks out of the room.
That's not awkward. And then Eddie has to be like, well,
and both
I guess.
Eddie and Flora are looking at each other like, what did you do wrong? What happened?
Yeah, poor Flora, right? She's like, what did I do wrong? Because obviously it was something she did wrong because she had said something and then Miss Kate left, right? So Flora immediately feels like she did something wrong.
Yes, she said something that either offended her. She could not believe that it was based off of her ethnicity alone, which is why Eddie gets up, goes to talk to Miss Kate and ask her, what happened? What did Flora do wrong?
And she immediately says she's Hawaiian, so she's a no-go. Get rid of her, Eddie, right? So they finish their dinner and Flora goes home and...
in tears, by the way.
And then some time passes and Miss Kate sees Flora at a grocery store.
Yes.
And she's like, hey, Eddie has moved on. He doesn't love you. He's just buying some time.
Well, no, even before that, Flora goes up to Miss Kate to...
Oh, right. That's how they get introduced at the grocery store. She's like, hey, I'm your fiance.
You remember me?
No, you're not.
Miss Kate acts like she doesn't even know who she is.
Yeah, like she's insignificant, right?
And then Flora's like, you recognize me, right? And she's like, yeah, but I don't like you. Wow, Miss Kate.
And what I didn't expect too was after that interaction, Miss Kate goes home and tells Eddie that she saw Flora with another man, right?
Yes.
Just lies all around.
On immediately.
Just shooting out lies all over the place.
In Miss Kate's defense, she did say, though, she was going to do everything in her power to make sure that Eddie does not marry Flora and to show
Is
her
that a defense for lies? Are you trying to defend her lies?
I'm just saying this is the reason why she created these lies. I'm not saying it's okay.
So I really like how passionate Eddie is for Flora, right? So even beyond these lies, like Eddie has to piece it all together, right?
Yeah, try to find a way to get Miss Kate's approval, try to find a way to get Flora and Miss Kate to rekindle their friend, or to even create a friendship with each other, or some sort of acceptance of one another.
I think acceptance is what he's looking for, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe they're not going to love each other, but maybe they can accept each other. Because he keeps telling his mom, like, this is the love of my life.
Yeah.
I don't care, if she's Hawaiian or any other ethnicity, like, I love her. This is
my soulmate.
And he also keeps telling her how amazing she is.
Yeah.
Right? How amazing she is, which is important later on in the novel. Eddie keeps telling his mom and the readers how amazing Flora is, right?
So the whole time you're thinking, I really hope their marriage works out because
you don't want to prove Miss Kate right.
Yes. And not only that, Eddie is not helping his relationship with Miss Kate. That relationship is basically going to be non-existent as long as he's married to Flora. So if they don't work out, how does he come crawling back to Miss Kate?
Oh,
saying,
she'll
I'm
accept
sorry.
them. She'll accept them and say, "I told you so."
And I have a Chinese woman waiting for
Yeah,
you.
I've got 4 of them lined up. Do you want to look at them? So luckily, it does work out with Flora. I don't think we're giving too much away by saying that, because this story is so much more than just their initial,
Battle to
stay together,
Yeah.
to date, to become fiancés,
Husband
and then
and wife.
husband and wife eventually.
and parents.
And I feel like that's where the meat of the story is, when they actually do get married, because then we start really testing their relationships in the story, right? Miss Kate and Flora really get tested. Eddie and his mother really get tested. And then we bring in some other interesting characters, like Miss Kate's twin sister, and then Eddie's sister, his father. All of these really interesting characters come in. It's more of like an ensemble story, because it moves beyond Eddie at that point, where those initial chapters were about Eddie, Flora, and Miss Kate. The meat of the story is really about the entire family, and making this a family saga, as well as like a really impassioned like romance story.
Yeah. And you see throughout the story, Flora and Eddie's love for one another doesn't diminish or falter.
It weathers the storm, right?
Yeah.
Like they encounter so many things throughout life. And I like how it's grounded, right? It's not things like people wouldn't normally encounter. This is like a story. It could be a memoir, basically, right? Because it's so authentic and real. And they encounter things like any other people encounter in their lives, and they weather it together. And I really like how they just loved each other so passionately from the first day, all the way up until the end. Like end of the book, at least. It was really good.
I really liked that Eddie also stood up for Flora, and in a respectful way, of course. And also wasn't afraid to stand up to his mother.
In a respectful way, I think, is the key, right? Because if I was in Eddie's shoes and all of these lies were flying all over the place, I don't know if I would be able to be so respectful. And I really admired Eddie for that, how he was able to balance his emotions with his respect.
Yes, and his shock.
And his utter shock at how prejudiced his mother is. I think it's the whole family is shocked at her prejudice. She's like, wow.
And I think the shock comes in too, because Eddie's sister Anne is also in line to get married. But we find out that the reason why Miss Kate accepts Anne's fiance as her soon-to-be husband is because he is Chinese.
Luckily.
Yes. So Anne gets lucky. And I also liked in the story that as it progresses, you also see Miss Kate grow as a person. You start to learn more about her background. You see more of her relationship with her husband.
Yeah, you get to see her evolve unexpectedly, right? You expect some sort of normal evolution where she hates Flora, and then she learns to love Flora through them going to a theme park. And, something happens and they must come together to find a missing squirrel or some craziness like that, right? That's how usually romance stories happen. But no, this, again, is real life, right?
Yeah.
How they come together over a long period of time.
Yes.
How they come to respect one another eventually.
8
and
years.
And how Miss Kate slowly evolves over that time, right? People don't just change overnight when something dramatic happens, right? They change slowly over time. And I think that's what this novel does really well, is showing how people evolve over time.
And I think it was over sad events that occurred in the book.
Some tragic events.
Yes, tragic events happen. And that's when you see Miss Kate starting to, I guess, reflect internally.
Yeah.
And thinking about her relationships with her children, her grandchildren now. And then within that, she makes a friend.
She makes a young friend, right? This little girl that, I don't know, how could you say, inspire her, or gives her a will to go on and live. It just brings so much more warmth and light into her life.
Well, she describes Rose as innocent.
Yeah.
So I guess that innocence and that just willingness to just love her and like her and just want to be her friend inspires Miss Kate to
open up
and start taking care of herself, eating and just doing regular activities that make her happy, like they did before.
it's not like a direct connection to her accepting Flora, right? Like
Yeah.
everything is like steps on top of steps,
Yeah.
right? Or like bricks being built towards this bridge where she's going to get to Flora. And, you know, Rose was part of that,
Yeah.
along with a couple of other tragic events that I know. We're not going to give it away. Okay, read the book. I think about like halfway through, you'll start to see all of these like really like page turning events that you just can't put the book down eventually.
And then you once you get to the end, it's really hard not to cry.
Yeah, I walked in on you and I think you were crying. I was like, what happened? Who died? You were like, this book.
I mean, you know, Miss Kate is a tough character. I wasn't very fond of her at first, but in the end, I actually liked her.
Yeah, I guess I could respect that she stuck to her guns, right? Like, she was adamant about something, although probably wrong.
Yeah.
She was adamant about it, and you could see her change her mind eventually, and unfortunately, took a lot of tragic events to get there.
Yeah, I think though, again, this is where it circles back to Flora and her kindness as a person.
So that's what I mean. Like, towards the end of the novel, at the beginning of the novel, we're told that she's nice and kind person.
She's an angel.
At the end of the novel, towards the end of the novel, we start to see how kind she is and how much of an angel she is.
Yes.
And I begin to respect her more. Whereas, like I said, we were just told she's nice, where we get to slowly see
You
that
think
she
it's
is
just
nice.
Eddie being in love and, you know, saying all these nice things about his soulmate. But no, she really is truly an amazing person. I mean, it takes a lot to have someone tear you down emotionally, tear you down right to your face. And then you turn around and you offer to open your home to that person, to take care of that person as if they were your own mother. And that's where you see their relationship start to shift.
Yeah, and I think this story is all about relationships, right? Of everybody in the family. Miss Kate and her twin sister, Flora and Eddie, his father, his sister's fiance.
Children.
They eventually have kids.
Yeah.
And how this family comes up together and weathers all of these different storms. So I think this story is really about the different relationships and how they change and grow or get stronger throughout time.
Yes. And how they're all there for each other.
I think that this story would do really well on the Lifetime channel, right?
Yes.
Like it wears all of its emotions on its sleeve.
But there's no murder involved.
Oh yeah, I guess it'd be like a Hallmark Channel movie then.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Where it's about love and it explores passion and romance and love, acceptance in different ways, and it shows how that is tested in life.
Yeah. It also shows like standing together as a team, you know, when you're married, you have to accept the good and the bad, and Flora weathers it all. She weathers, you know, his family, they're all accepting of her except Miss Kate, and she weathers it all. I mean, she's there for everyone. She even attends his sister Anne's wedding. She has this notion that all Hawaiians are evil, but we never understand why. But what's also interesting is when they have, when Flora and Eddie have kids, Miss Kate says, I'm gonna love my grandchildren.
I was kind of worried about that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, what if they have kids? What is Miss Kate gonna do? Is she gonna hate the kids? Oh no.
Because they're half and half.
They're half Hawaiian. She's like, I love you 50%. I don't love the Hawaiian part.
But no, Miss Kate loves them. They get to see her. They get to know her. I mean, they get to live with her, which is great. You get to see her bond with her grandchildren. But yeah, that was scary at first. I was a little worried.
Please accept them. What else I like about this book is it's written about a Chinese family. So we get to see a little bit of Chinese culture.
Yeah.
Which is something that's new to me. Obviously, I'm not Chinese. So I thought it was interesting to see how different people live their lives.
They're very respectful towards their parents.
I know. Not that I'm not respectful. It's just surprising how respectful they are.
Very respectful. I mean, even though Eddie was like upset with his mother, he would say like respectfully, I don't agree with you.
Respectfully, mother, you're wrong, okay?